Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today for my YouTube channel. This is Cliff Ford, here to bring you another video on basically another One Piece video. I've been sort of making a lot of them. It feels like the only thing I've been doing. I made some Mario fun video suggestions and theories and thoughts and stuff like that. Now, the basics of this One Piece video is it's going to be like another Nami and Zoro video per se, with some Luffy added into it, but it's mostly going to be a Nami and Zoro video. Now, I would also like to state that this is not going to be the same video I did about like a month ago or 2 months ago, somewhere around that time, maybe more like a month, where I sort of talked about the suggestion of both Nami and Zoro being like secretly related, like being brother and sister, and both their father being Shiki. I know, a lot of people are probably going to be questioning, wait, Shiki? Seriously? Yes, I know, and look, I'm not saying it 100% factual, alright? I was just making a simple suggestion. I was just having a fun video. And, well, since we're going to be talking about Zoro and stuff like that, I'm going to be using my personal sword here, I'm not really sure what kind of sword it is. I believe it's some kind of knight sword. I don't really have, like, katanas and, like, Zoro's personal swords, so I'm just going to have to make do with this. So, yeah, but still, I mean, it's still a sword, so I'm in the right, so I'm basically in the right direction. So I'm in a step in the right direction, but I'm still far off in that direction. And then I don't have a log pose, so I guess I can just pretend my watch is a log pose. So I can use that for inspiration for Nami, okay? Okay, so what is the basics of this video? So what am I talking about with Nami and Zoro in this video? The basics I'm going to go over in this video is that, well, to start off with this, ever since Luffy was basically, or actually be more precise, since we found out that Luffy's Delph fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, was revealed to be the Hito Hito no Mi mythical model Nika, or better known as the human fruit mythical model Nika. Now, the interesting thing about this is that, Nika, when we first learned about Nika per se, we first learned about it from Who's Who during his fight with Jinbei. Matter of fact, it was around that time when we also found out that there was something else about the Gomu Gomu no Mi at the time. We had learned that Who's Who was the one who actually stole the Gomu, well, he was the one who actually had the Gomu Gomu no Mi in his possession before Shanks managed to steal it, before the events when Luffy had ate it. And then, not long after that, a couple chapters later, when we found out from the Gorosei, when they mentioned that there was another Delph fruit, that his name was personally changed, a lot of people were beginning speculating and wonder what that Delph fruit was. Some people were basically suspecting, like, Robin's Delph fruit. Other people were suspecting Law's Delph fruit. Some people were expecting Kaido's Delph fruit. So many possibilities. And, like, Luffy's Delph fruit was out there, too. But at the same time, it also wasn't really, like, the one that a lot of people were really expecting the most. But it was still a candidate. And then we eventually found out that, yes, it was Luffy's Delph fruit. The thing about this is that, we found out that Nika, this Delph fruit ability that basically transformed the user into literally Nika himself, that allows them to basically give them like a stretchy like body and stuff like that, and that when they awaken, their body becomes freely imaginable to their extent. And so it's almost like their imagination is really grown even more to a new level based upon like what they imagine and see. Now, I'm going to sort of beginning off top of it. I'm going to be giving sort of off topic if I keep staying on Nika. So I got to keep this to a Zoro Nami video per se. Now, the basic gist of this video is that, well, I'm basically going to be giving sort of my thoughts and opinions on why I can see both Nami and Zoro being the two primary Straw Hats that will basically help Luffy defeat Blackbeard. Now, I'm not saying without a doubt and with 100% facts that Luffy and Zoro and Nami are both going to defeat Blackbeard at the exact same time. No, I do believe that Luffy is going to be the primary one to defeat Blackbeard in a one-on-one fight. I have no doubt about that. But a lot of times when Luffy has been facing an opponent, not literally every opponent, but a majority of them, and some of them, Luffy has sort of got knocked out or has managed to been detained for a while because of something with one of his fights, and someone has to step in and keep the person occupied, and stuff like that. So I can see like a similar situation to that event, to where something happens to Luffy, and then someone's got to step in and take care of Blackbeard until Luffy manages to return. How this comes about, I'm not really sure. I could probably make a whole bunch of suggestions, but I don't want to get this video longer than it already should. So let's just stick to the main facts, okay? Now, a lot of people probably be wondering and suggesting, well, why Nami and Zoro per se? Like, what's your reasoning for them? And I'm going to get into that, okay? So, back to the whole Nika concept real quick. Nika himself, he's really defined as the sun god, okay? And we first learned about the sun god from, like, Skypiea and stuff like that. And this is really one of the many arcs that really began this event. Well, I mean, not like literally. I mean, it all started back in the Romance Dawn series and stuff like that. But in terms of, like, the whole, really, like, the Delph fruit abilities, like, sun god Nika and aspects like that, like, that's really where it all began. We also got other name gods as well. And, the funny thing about it is that, you know, with Nika's known as the sun god Nika, a lot of people will be speculating and wondering, like, okay, if there's a sun god Nika, could there be other types of god Delphids with like celestial planetary names or titles, like sun god or moon god or, you know, earth god, you know, in that sense. And that's basically what I'm going to go over with this, is by giving my reasoning and thoughts on why I can see Nami representing like the moon god, and then Zoro representing the earth god. So basically you have the sun, the moon, and the earth. So, and that would basically define that. And I'll be getting into my explanations with that pretty soon. Okay, so just hold on. Okay, please hold on. So I want to go over something real quick with Nika himself. Now, there have been I made a video before, like a couple days ago, on the whole Nika name and stuff like that, and like how Nika could have you know, other people, like other liberation warriors who are like his partners, who are sort of helping him out. And this is going to be something very similar to that, where I wanted to add something more to that. I also wanted to basically add a context and say, like, you know, you can look at Nika's name being derived or being like something relative of his title, sun god. Okay. And so basically, let me go over with this. The Japanese word for sun is Taiyo. Yo, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that wrong, so like that. I do apologize, guys, but the Japanese word for sun is Taiyo. However, there is another word in Japanese is called Nichi, or better yet, the kun reading is he, which basically used for like Sundays and like stuff like that, but it can also be used for the word sun itself. Now, what I'm basically going to go over with this is that, you know, the fact that you have this Japanese kanji word that can another translation of it could be like Nichi. You can also get like nanori readings like ni and stuff like that. And, you know, the Japanese word for God is kami, ka, ha, and one of the readings on that can just be ka itself, being derived from kami. So you put these two word translations together, Nika. In a way, you can take the title sun god and you can use that to represent Nika's name. So you can literally take Nika's sun god title in order to represent his name himself. And so I'm basically going to be sort of adding that same context for the moon god and the earth god in a way. Now, I'd also like to mention, because a lot of people will probably be questioning and saying, hey, wait a minute, back up a minute, back up. Luffy's only a sun god because of the Devil Fruit. Nami and Zoro do not have Devil Fruits. And that is true, all right? So, look, and it can always be possible that something will happen, they will eventually get a Devil Fruit. Or maybe there will be other ways for them to be defined by these guys themselves. How it comes to be, I'm not really sure. I'm just sort of adding into context. Okay. So, continuing our further like that, why do I personally believe that Nami and Zoro are going to be the ones to help Luffy defeat Blackbeard? Because a lot of people will probably be questioning, well, wait a minute. I don't think I can see Nami doing it, all right? I feel like it should be Sanji. And look, I like Sanji a lot, right? Compared, like, with him and Zoro and Luffy, they are considered the monster trio. However, the thing we have to understand and consider and realize is that, you know, Nami, Zoro, and Luffy are basically the triggers of the One Piece world, right? They are basically the ones to literally kick off the story, to basically get the really the ones who are telling the story, the one who are actually leading the place to go, and stuff like that. And for Zoro, it's a bit ironic since he always gets lost, okay? So let's take it as this as an example, okay? So Zoro is more of the inspirational in terms of like leading Luffy to being a great captain, to sort of giving him advice on what he needs to do, right? He's always been the one to basically steer Luffy in the right direction by telling him how you should act, how you should expect people to treat you in order to be a great captain and stuff like that. And for Nami, it's more of like leading Luffy. It's more of like leading Luffy to where he wants to go. To basically pay him back for freeing her from her demons and stuff like that, from her prison that she's been trapped in all along. And it wasn't just for Nami itself. A lot of the Straw Hats have felt obliged to Luffy in this in a way, and they want to help him by achieving his goal to become king of the pirates. And so basically, continuing further with this, the reason why I'm representing Zoro and Nami is the face-off against Blackbeard is because it was these three Straw Hats that first met Blackbeard, okay? And I want to get into something really interesting thing. I feel like this could work. Okay, so I've already mentioned the whole sun god Nika name by that. So I want to mention the whole the moon one and the earth one and why I can represent Nami, okay, and Zoro. So first I'll start with Zoro, okay? So all right, so why do I represent Zoro for the earth? Well, there are many different things you can represent Zoro for the earth, okay? So one thing to go over exactly is, well, take for instance, the earth is the third planet from the sun. Zoro does fight with three sword styles. Well, so that's one thing you can look at. Another thing to look at is that, you know, I tried doing something very similar with the name of like Sun God and like see if I can take like the name Nika itself by doing that. And my personal best thing I could come up with something very similar is the name Jika. So Earth God Jika. Okay. Earth God Jika. Okay, so that's what I came up with. Now you're probably wondering like how did I come up with this name? Like what's the point of it? Okay, so I've already mentioned the Ka from the Kami part of it with the whole Sun God. Okay, so I already mentioned that part. The G actually comes, and by G I mean J-I. So just to be clear, J-I's. Not G-I, J-I. Okay, so I should be very clear on that. if you look up the Japanese word for Earth itself, right? I believe it's Chikyo. I believe I'm forgetting it. I believe it's Chikyo. All right, I get the feeling I'm literally get the feeling I'm mispronouncing that word. Okay, but let me just continue on what I'm saying. Okay, so the kanji in that word, the first kanji, the chi itself, like the first kanji, can actually translate into G, and that kanji itself can be translated into ground and earth. Okay. And another thing I want to point out is this, is that you can actually take the, so basically if you take the kanji G, and if you look up any other types of translations of like the G itself, like what other word sort of begins with that word G itself, you can actually come across a word called Jigoku, okay? And basically this translates into hell, okay? Hell. Oddly enough, in 100, Zoro actually came across a new sword named Inma. Inma is basically like a judge who decides, like, who basically judges whether people go to heaven or hell. Not to mention, after Zoro's fight with King, he seems to come face to face with the Grim Reaper, leading a lot of people to basically question Zoro's struggles, like what's going to happen to him, and it's like that. Is this basically the end of him? Will he basically burn in hell? Which I hope not. Because if Zoro is in burning in hell and like that, and that literally throws this theory completely out the door. I want to apologize for that noise you're hearing in the background. I do apologize for that. So another thing you look at, the fact is that, for Earth, Zoro is really more like, well, I guess you can't really define him as being like really more down-toned to Earth and stuff like that, but I feel like he represents the Earth in a lot of ways. So like, if we're basically going to focus on the Sun, Moon, and Earth, and you basically had to, and we'll come to it, you had to basically rely on the first three Straw Hats that we have with Zoro, Nami, well, basically Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Then you have to stop and ask yourself, okay, between these three Straw Hats and these three celestial bodies and stuff like that, with Sun, Moon, and Earth, which one would best represent that Straw Hat, okay? And you can see the point I'm making on that from what I'm suggesting. Okay. So now moving on to Nami itself with the moon, okay? So the Japanese word for moon is Tsuki, okay? Tsuki. And the name I'm basically going to be providing here is Tsuka, okay? So Tsuka. Yeah. So now the whole ka part, like I mentioned before, would obviously come from kami. All right, and Tsu would obviously come from the Tsuki part. So basically, you're just changing the ki to ka. So in reality, all you're doing is just changing one vowel letter to another vowel letter. So Tsuki to Tsuka. Not much to say on that part right there. Okay. Okay. So continuing even further with this, why can you see Nami representing by this? Okay. The moon itself is basically a big L because like the moon's gravity reflects and causes our motion's waves. So it basically is said that causes the Earth's the waves of the ocean to move. It basically causes the waves of the ocean. Nami's name in Japanese means wave. Okay. Not to mention, if you look at the word tsunami itself, like tsunami, you literally have the first translation of moon right there, tsu, along with Nami's name, tsunami. It also. Well, look, there are many other things I can go over and stuff like that, but I think since I've already made my point on the whole Zoro one and the Luffy one has already been confirmed 100%, so it's pretty obvious to see why Nami should be the one to represent the moon. Okay, so another thing I want to go over with this is that because like if this is true and this is something that could happen, then there is something that could basically lead to this and make reference to it in a way, like why you can sort of believe that these three are the ones who will face Blackbeard the most, or better yet, why Nami and Zoro will be the ones to help Luffy defeat Blackbeard, even though it will be Luffy who will actually be the one to truly defeat Blackbeard once and for all. And this is basically why I want to go over this. So if you look at the first translations of their names, so remember the names are Nika, Jika, and Tsuka. Okay, so those are the names. You look at the first basically you look at the first translations in those names, okay? So basically you have Nichi and Tsu, okay? Nichi, Tsu. If you look at those different translations of what you can get, each of those translations, each of those sound effects can be used to represent the number 2, literally. Ni can literally be used, is really the main primary source for the number 2. G can be used as a different reading on the word ni itself, all right? So it can be used as a different reading for the number 2. Sure, it's not a primary one, but it can still be used, okay? Then you have Tsu itself. Tsu literally would be the more primary context of like the Japanese translation of the English number 2 precise. Nice. So going over that, let's think about this in reality, okay? So let's say we take those 3 numbers. So we have 3 2s, okay? 3 2s. Let's think about that for a second. Chapter 222. Oddly enough, that was one chapter right before Blackbeard was introduced. Now look, that could just be a crazy coincidence. That really could. But it's still amazing the fact that you think about that. Like, you take these three celestial planet and it's come across these names, and you think about that for a second, and you use that to represent these three Straw Hats. The fact that these three Straw Hats are the ones who actually met Blackbeard, and the fact that these names could actually work to make that big coincidence. Even so, it's a coincidence, and I love that coincidence. Now look, does that mean that Oda's going to use it and it's going to come true? No, but let's face it. I'm happy with it, and I'm basically okay with it. I really am. Okay, so going over in reality itself. So, a lot of people, like, ever since Luffy was revealed to be the sun god, a lot of people began thinking, like, could there be other devil fruits themselves, like other gods themselves? Some people began theorizing, suggesting that Blackbeard himself has the moon god devil fruit. However, while I can see this possible, and I'm not going to disagree with it, so I feel like it could be possible, and I think it could work. But I have a different reasoning to believe that it's not, even though I get the feeling that it is going to be true. But I want to make a different suggestion on that. Okay, so the easiest way that I should explain this is that we have to think about the sun, moon, and earth exactly itself. Each of these three things exactly, or better yet, for the earth, the sun and the moon are really big helps for the earth themselves, all right? So let's take, for instance, this. If we had no sun, if there was literally no sun in the sky, if the sun just suddenly blew, like, burn out, like, basically, like, completely went out, then we would basically just drift in darkness of space. Literally in the darkness of space, and we would eventually all freeze to death as life would not flourish, all right? Plants would not grow anymore, and stuff like that. The entire, like, plants would die, and stuff like that. Animals would die, which would eventually lead to we, the humans, dying. The moon is such a great aspect of that, and the fact that, the moon itself causes many gravitational pulls and energies for us on Earth itself, and that if we were to lose the moon, we would basically be in basically a more devastating, darkest night of all time. Because, see, the thing is that, like, take for instance the moon itself, like the full moon with moonlight. You can see this as representing the fact that the moonlight is there to shine in darkness itself, to say, hey, don't worry, hang on, there is still light even in the dark. So don't give up hope. The sun will return. I promise you that. And, Nami has sort of represented this many times itself. And like other Straw Hats too, like other characters as well, have sort of represented this as well by saying that, hold on, don't give up hope. Luffy will return. Alright, and Nami is no difference to this at all. Another thing to point out is that I really want to use Nami because the fact is, like, I feel like Nami doesn't really get the best opportunities, and there have been times when Nami says that she wants to be useful to her captain, that she wants to be the one to help him this time. In a way, you kind of think and wonder, has Nami ever actually provided that just yet? Has she ever actually truly, finally given that just yet? I feel like she hasn't, but then again, it might not be important to come to realize, okay? Okay, so to continue on even further, so I mentioned the whole name things and stuff like that. I mentioned the whole fact that Blackbeard's first introduction, like the whole numbers, was just one chapter away from when Blackbeard was first introduced and stuff like that, before they finally met Blackbeard, right? And it was in that chapter itself that really began that journey for order them to help find their way to Sky Island and stuff like that. And it was because of, like, going to Sky Island itself that led them to learning about these things. For us, the viewers, or more in fact, the readers, learning about, like, these gods themselves and stuff like that. So it literally gives us more reasoning to see that, to understand that, why that makes sense and why it can be important. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are probably questioning, okay, so that's very good, all right? You made a great point on a lot of things with, like, Nami representing the moon, Zoro representing the earth, all right? But still, it should be Sanji. And look, that's no disrespect to Sanji. I like Sanji a lot, okay? But the fact remains is that, since, like, Oda basically chose to represent these three tribes first to meet Blackbeard, I feel like it's more important to have these three be the ones to face off against Blackbeard last for the final match, okay? Look, I have no doubt in my mind that Sanji could be very useful and stuff like that. Like, Robin even stated, we are here to fight with Black Maria, that Sanji is going to be one of the wings of the Straw Hat, Luffy himself, along with Zoro. And I feel like that could still be used, okay? I have no doubt in my mind. Okay, so continuing on with what I'm saying is, like, with Sanji himself, you can see him as a great character, and I have no doubt in my mind that he can be important. But the thing is, since Oda basically started with these three characters, I would feel like it would be more important to basically use those three characters to basically finish where it began for that moment, alright? Now, look, there could be many different possibilities on what we can expect and think, and why we can see that, okay? Now, I know a lot of people began speculating that Blackbeard is represented by the moon god itself. However, just like I said with the whole moon itself being important for us in life, and the fact that, with the moonlight is the shine in darkness, that without the moon, we would have more darker nights, and without the sun, we would have an insane amount of darkness with no light to keep us in. We would literally be in pitch blackness. And Blackbeard himself wants to throw the entire world into darkness itself. He is literally the embodiment of, like, darkness itself, like the vastment of space. It's like black holes necessarily. And the fact remains is that if we didn't have these things, then we would be completely lost in darkness. And you can look at that very similar with Zoro in a sense. If Zoro never met Luffy, then he would have just been you know, he would have just been tied up to those pillars. And if both Zoro and Luffy never met Nami, then they would have been lost. Like, they have no, Zoro has really no sense of direction. Luffy doesn't really understand navigations and stuff like that. And then, you know, in the end, they're just lost. Like, here on Earth, we are lost. Without those things, we are lost. And you can think about that and see, you can sort of understand the connections with Zoro in that, is that we are very much connected to Zoro in that sense. Just like Zoro gets lost, we have become lost. Look, overall, I know a lot of people will probably be questioning and saying, like, look, if they see this video, they're going to say, no, it's going to be Sanji. It's going to be Sanji. I have no doubt about that, okay? And look, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that's actually the way it's going to be, all right? All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is the fact is that I could really see it working out, the fact that you have a sun god to basically fight against the darkness, and that if he had, like, partners, like 2 other ones to help him, with Moon and Earth, I could see Nami and Zoro being the ones to represent those 2 things. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's really all I'm saying. So, look, overall, there's other things I want to mention before. Another thing I want to mention exactly is that, you know, Blackbeard himself, with his ability, the Yummy, basically the dark fruit to basically negate Devil Fruit abilities itself. And, you know, he's shown to be able to negate Luffy's Devil Fruit abilities, I believe, right? And so you think about that for, say, that just because, like, he awakens his Devil Fruit abilities, just because Luffy awakened his Devil Fruit ability, does that necessarily mean that, does that defy the fact that Luffy, is impervious to the Yummy abilities per se? I don't believe so, because in the recent chapter 1047, I won't really go into spoilers, but basically, something happens in that chapter that basically declares that, yes, just because Luffy awakens his ability does not necessarily negate something that happened before. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. That's pretty much all I have for this this video. Yeah, so I think that's all. Yeah, that's it. So, look, this is actually my second time recording this video, alright? I actually already recorded this the day beforehand, and I was already uploading it to YouTube and stuff like that, and then something happened to the, basically something happened to the upload, and then I had to delete the video, but since I already re-deleted the previous, saved one and stuff like that, since I already deleted the uploading one, I already deleted the previous one, I had no way to get back. I had no other choice but to record this whole entire video all over again. Okay, so, yeah, so, listen, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you got a chance to watch it, I really appreciate it very much. Also, if you liked the video itself and you enjoyed everything I suggested on it, feel free to like the video. And go ahead and leave a comment down below on some of your own thoughts and opinions on the matter and what you think about what I was, basically representing and what I was, sort of talking about. I really would appreciate it. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to get more, from me itself. Well, it would be very much appreciated and it would help my channel grow even more. Also, go ahead and hit that notification bell, alright? You'll basically get news and uploads on any video I upload, okay? I also like to mention that I also started my own Twitter page and stuff like that. You can follow me on Twitter, where you'll basically keep updates on some of the videos I uploaded. You'll get to know information about certain videos I might do eventually, and my thoughts and opinions on things I want to talk about in general. So overall, that is it. So yeah, and look, if you want to see more on me, I play videos on my channel and stuff like that. I would really like to get grown even more and stuff like that. So feel free to go see some of those videos and stuff like that. Just whatever you choose. You'll have a great day. Bye now.